Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. I am Primetime 000, joined by Matt and Dan. How's it going, fellas?
We're back.
Yes, we're back. I think we got a good episode lined up today as we are in the last season of Madden 24. Time flies when you're having fun. Let's go ahead and get started. Topic number one. Hey, it's kind of been the big hot topic, hot subject of the cycle. So there's been a shift in this Madden League in terms of power, in terms of at least key quarterbacks such as Joe Burrow going from the Bengals to the Bills, and then Justin Herbert leaving the Chargers and going to the Chicago Bears. What do you guys think about this shift in power? Does this mean anything? Does it not? And we'll start with whoever usually starts.
Yeah, I'll go. I think you'd be crazy to say no if you just look at the standings on Neon and notice that Dump's not even in the playoffs yet. And Dump, just not the other day, people were saying there's no way he's not the cycle champ, right? But now he's sitting at 8-5. And we'll talk about that record later, but if the playoffs started today, he's not in it. And The only thing that has changed throughout the entire cycle in which they're propping him as the champion is he doesn't have set feet lead anymore. That's the only thing that's changed. He's lost some pieces. He had to get rid of some pieces, etc. But the main piece, he doesn't have that quarterback anymore. And the quarterback that he started, Will Levis, he got rid of him after a game or two because he couldn't do it. And he had to go out and get Rich Lang for peanuts. So he threw in the towel on that really, really quick. But if you look at the flip side, look at the top of these standings. You've got the one seed in the AFC is the Titans. They've got set feet lead. They technically haven't lost a game that they've played. You've got Meats on the other end at 12-1 with the exact same record, also has set feet lead. Right behind him is Doink with set feet lead. You guessed it. And then, Dan and Prime, you guys kind of change the narrative a little bit because you don't have it, but that's normal.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Matt's 100% right here, and I think this whole narrative can be put to rest. I think officially has been declared victorious. Set feet lead has been by far the most OP ability that we've had, probably back to maybe Freight Train / Escape Artist. I don't even think it was this bad last year. I think this is one of the most OP abilities we've seen in a long time, and it's just bearing itself out. Matt makes great points, brings the facts, brings the receipts. I respect Matt for that. Only thing I got to add on to that is that, Q's still winning without set feet lead, and I want to give him a little bit of credit for that because, he's proven he can do it. So, some of these things that define these guys, not from cycle to cycle, but just legacy, has been, can you do it over a period of time? And Q is demonstrating again, he rises above just a cycle hero, and he is a all-time hero legacy kind of SML player.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. When I thought about this topic, I wondered what's going to happen come playoff time when it actually matters. And to Matt's point, Dumps might not even make the playoffs. I mean, it's that big of a drop-off. And then you look at his touchdown-to-interception ratio. He already, like Matt had said, he already had to get rid of his quarterback. And then his quarterback who's been playing, Rich Lang, I think has 19 touchdowns and 15 interceptions. That's terrible for somebody like Dump. You look at QP without Herbert. When you compare the average stats of Herbert over the last 7 seasons, since we've been able to track it, his last 7 seasons with Herbert, his yards per game down 15%, a 21% decrease in touchdowns per game, and a 6% drop in win-loss ratio for QP. That's without set feet lead. Dump, again, 8 seed. This guy is fighting for number 1 seed, and he was a Super Bowl favorite the last 2 or 3 seasons. So I'm not going to sit here and make bold claims and narratives that these guys can't win without set feet lead, but the truth is, without it, they probably wouldn't even have some Barties right now, and Dump probably wouldn't even have 2. I'm really curious of how this playoff is going to shake out because I feel like when it comes to the top dogs in the AFC, it's going to just force the top dogs to play with more skill than abilities. Now you do have to look at Stavo. He does have set feet lead, and he is the number 1 seed. He's only got 1 loss on the season. What a coincidence that may be. So we're going to see how this shakes out, but AFC is going to be very interesting. NFC's got some. Meats has it. Bomber has it. And Doink has it. So NFC is loaded with it. So that's really going to shake down in a very interesting way.
And look at Dumps, the first game versus Dan, Rich Lang, 5 completions, 57 yards. I mean, 5/16, that's 31%. I mean, look, and I left QP out because he's proved it. He's like you guys, he's done it before. I don't really need to get too far into the narrative there. He can do it without it. But it's these guys that are in the good tier that this ability elevates them, and that's all we're talking about. I'm not saying that anybody gets set feet lead and automatically becomes a great player. No, you've got to have a foundation of being a good player, but then you're just missing that one piece, and an overpowered ability like set feet lead or like freight train on Knoll at the end of last cycle, it's going to push those guys just over the top, give them that little, close that gap between them and the top echelon players.
Yeah, I'm really curious how that NFC is going to shake out with loaded with that. Let's go to second down. Next big thing, I kind of crowned double rice, no bean as the next big thing for a while there. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know if we can call them that anymore. I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are. And Matt or Dan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I it's a great topic. I forget who brought it up in chat the other day, but someone brought it up, and it's been a while since we've had a next big thing. I think originally it was Faz was the original one. You had no rice, no beans. I think at some point someone tabbed AJ the next big thing, and that kind of went south. I think also if I remember correctly, on an episode, Paulie mentioned KP as being it. I think those are all excellent choices. Stavo is one that you can look at and say, but is he ability driven right now? This is to me, it's. We talk a lot about the big guys and the guys winning some Bardies, but the guys right there, the guys that we mentioned in that good tier that are going to take that next step. Man, I'm going to go with 2 guys I'm going to mention. I'm going to go with KP. I think KP knows how to play the game. I think he is going to be not dependent upon abilities, but he's always going to be there, and I think he has what it takes to win. And then I'm going to throw out a little dark horse guy that, kind of flying under the radar. We'll see if he actually makes it to next cycle. But I think Spooky has the ability to be a guy that makes some noise. And so not too many people see him play much right now because he's playing on a kind of a loser end team, and he's not going to make the playoffs. But watch out for Spooky come next cycle if he makes it that far.
That's good.
Yeah, I was that is a really good one actually. When you prefaced it with the make it till next cycle, I thought you were going to steal my guy. But so when I first saw this topic, and anytime I really see this topic, I immediately think of Straw. But I think Straw's arrived in the SML already. He's made a Super Bowl. He has consistently contended for one. Actually, I'm just gonna say he's made 2. In my book, he's made 2.
Yeah.
So he doesn't count. I think he's already here, and I think that we need to really pay attention next in the team draft on where he goes. I think depending on that what team falls to him, he could be a force. But speaking of making it to next cycle, I think KP's a great one. I think the way he plays, he's just not going to go anywhere with the good defense and the running game and all that. But I'm going to go with Filthy. We have seen flashes of brilliance from Filthy. We have seen elite passing from him. And I know he's been here for a long time. He's been here for most of the cycle, almost all of it. But he probably got one of the worst teams in the game. It's not the worst anymore, but he got put into the toughest division where he's got to play QP twice. He had to play Wine twice at one point, and Gutta, who has obviously already won a Simbardi. So I think if Filthy sticks around, he had a kind of an ominous tweet today about his Madden future is pending. But if he sticks around and gets a better team in a less cutthroat division, give him a full cycle, I think Filthy could honestly make some noise in this league.
Yeah, that's a good one. And he plays a lot of Madden, and he plays a lot. So that could be interesting. For me, it's got to be Stavo. He number 1 seed in the AFC. He was a number 1 seed in the AFC last season. He's got the team to not only make a push, but to win this whole thing. He's got set feet lead that we just talked about. He's been the number one seed now 2 years in a row, it's looking like. What else do you need to look at other than the guy? When you watch his games, he's blowing people out. I think he blew out Dump this year. He pretty much held the lead steadily the whole time against me, and he beat QP. I don't think he played Dan this year, but he's beat some of the best in the AFC. He wants to win very, very badly. You can tell he loves to play the game. He plays his games very fast. He's in the streams watching, commenting. He just wants to win. To me, those are all characteristics of a guy who could be the next big thing. Now, the counterpoint is it set feet lead? The counterpoint is it just kind of a new guy syndrome? We've seen some new guys come in and play well, and then the next cycle comes around and they're not that great. I think there was a point in Primer where he wasn't very good. All I know is this guy's winning a lot of games, and he's really now, this cycle, to finish out, it's really his cycle to lose, in my opinion. The AFC, he's got the best quarterback in the AFC. He's the favorite. He's got the bye week. I mean, it's time for him to win a Super Bowl and prove that he's the next big thing. And if he doesn't, there's gonna be a lot of question marks heading into Madden 25. But to me, that's the guy who I got my eyes on as the next big thing. And I hate to say it because I don't want Stavo to be the next big thing, but I'm releasing the title off of Double Rice No Bean and I'm putting it on Stavo.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't put Stavo on here just because longevity. He hasn't done it long enough. He also has the best ability, and I was lucky enough to, I've only played him once, but I was lucky enough to play him before he got set feet lead, and I beat him 27-9.
Wow.
So I wasn't completely impressed, but obviously since then he's grown tremendously.
Yeah. Third down. Is there a shift? We've talked about the top 10 this cycle. Actually, one video project I do that's kind of a long process, but we do the SML top 10 where all the members vote in private, and then I share the results at the end after the video is done. But it's the top 10 players of the cycle. There's highlights I use. There is narration from different SML members. Big project. But to be crowned the cycle champ is a big deal. But beyond that, do you guys see a shift in the top 10 of the cycle, or what you guys thinking? Matt, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on how you quantify your top 10. Is it Simbardi's, like this is what, season 8 or something, or season 9? If everybody that won a Simbardi, are they automatically in the top 10? Because I think about a good example of maybe an argument between two owners, Gutta and Straw. Straw has consistently been in the playoffs. He's only missed twice. He's been in 2 Super Bowls, hasn't won one. Gutta has only made the playoffs twice, the whole cycle.
Yeah,
but
wow.
I don't know about season 1. I can't see that on Neon. But he's won a Simbardi. Where do you rank those two? He didn't. Okay, so he's made it twice. And the first one, I think he lost to Wine game 1. The second season, he got that forced win against the 1 seed Dump. And then ran the table. So great. But where do you put those two? Where do you put guys like myself and Bomber that, okay, maybe we have good win-loss records, but we didn't do anything. So I think maybe if Bomber can make a Super Bowl, even win one, I think obviously he gets in there. So I think there might be a little bit of cycling in the top 10, but I think it's pretty solidified. The difference is going to be at the top. And who's that cycle champ? And I think it's 3 guys. It's Dump right now. He's in the lead. He's the favorite. You guys got to catch him down the stretch. And those guys are Prime and Dan. And honestly, at this point, I know a lot of people think there's no argument whatsoever as long as Dump makes the playoffs. I think there's an argument if Prime wins. I think the argument is the strongest if Dan wins a second Simbardi. Dan is 13-5 against Dump. I don't know the first season because I can't see it in the regular total. He's 2-1 against him in the playoffs, and he will have won. He swept him this season. He will have won an equal amount of Simbardis, both of them without the 2 best abilities in the game. So if he's got the same amount of Simbardis, he's just absolutely dominated the guy in the regular season, has a winning record against him in the playoffs. How is Dan not the cycle champ? That's where I think the question lies.
Dan?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. We could probably spend a full, breakdown, what was that, heat check 2 hours worth talking about this kind of topic, because like Matt said, you got 1 through 5, which I think is really up in the air from myself, Dump, Q, Doink, and Prime in the last 2 seasons brought himself back into the conversation. So that's a debatable. But then you look at 6 through 10, you've got guys like Woods, who has 2 Super Bowl appearances, but 2 top 5 pick as well. You got Gutta. You've got, as you said, Straw. Meats made a Super Bowl. He could potentially make another one. You've got guys like Matt and Bomber, good regular season, some good runs, but never a Super Bowl appearance. So this league, and then we haven't even talked about some of these guys like, they're too young in the cycle, but KP and then Stavo and then Filthy I mean, the league itself, it's really competitive to be in the top 10. So for all these guys that we're talking about, man, you should feel accomplished that you're actually in this discussion. And I think this last season, as much as I talked about summertime and mentality, there's a lot up for stakes in this last season, and I think all these guys in the top 10 for some bragging rights, they need to finish strong, and I think these games are going to start to matter as we move to the end here.
Yeah, I agree. And my brother's crazy dog's barking. Hopefully you guys can't hear that too bad in the background. But especially if Dump misses the playoffs, I think that's going to open up the number 1 slot a little bit. Or if he goes a wild card round and drops out after one game, goes one and done. Because you look at a guy like Dan who hits, like to Matt's point, has ruled over Dump, and he's won without great abilities. If I got a second one this season, that'd be without inside stuff or set feet lead, and I had the most wins of the cycle. You look at QP, who could win one without set feet lead as well. So it's really, really interesting. But I think even beyond that one, it's that 2 through 5. How do you order all the guys with one Sombardi, and how do you rank that out? So it's going to be fun. And then the 8 through 10 or 7 through 10 or whatever it is that of guys who don't have them. So I feel like it's going to be the closest and most, I guess you could just say, competitive and tight voting that we've probably seen ever on the top 10 list. So I'm excited to just hopefully get everybody's participation in that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to have a list of everybody's record, their playoff win-loss, their regular season win-loss, the pros and cons to them this cycle. What do they do great? How many times do they miss the play? That way everybody has a full educated decision, and it's going to be a fun time. SML off seasons are not a dead period. So yeah. What's up?
Prime, will you consider it to be maybe potentially the greatest election of 2024?
Yeah, I think I would. The truth is, this one's not rigged like previous ones, so it's gonna be good. Let's go on. It's time to spread some love on some people. It's been a while since we spread it all over. And Matt, Dan, somebody spread love on somebody.
Hey, no problem. I have no problem spreading my love. I'm gonna spread all my love on Meats. Meats, man. I'm looking over at that record. I'm looking at that team. You have been so close a few times. I think 2 Sombardi appearances at least. You've had some great records. You got the abilities. People give you a lot of crap, and you take it like a man. So much credit to you. It would be, unless I'm playing against you, it'd be awesome to see you in the Super Bowl and win one. I think you deserve one. I don't know if the whole league will cheer for you like Woods, but I think underneath, behind the scenes, a lot of people are cheering for you. So, man, finish strong. Let's see you represent the NFC. Go Meats.
Yeah, I'm gonna spread mine on a couple of guys here. I'm gonna go with Dump first. I think Dump has a real good opportunity. Dump has that competitive spirit, that bro mentality. I mean, he's around competition all the time. That's what he does for a living. He's got a shot here. He's 8-5. Now he's had 4 forced wins and 1 forced loss, so he's technically 4-4. His wins are a combined 17 and 35.
Wow.
So he hasn't beat anybody. But it doesn't matter because his schedule is weak. He's going to make the playoffs. And then it's his chance once he gets in to make that push to being the cycle GOAT. It's his to lose. So spread the love to Dump. He's going to focus up and he's going to get it. He's going to make the playoffs. I mean, looking at his schedule, he might lose to Bomber, but he's going to win the rest. And then lastly, I wasn't going to add this guy on here, but after seeing that Omnius tweet, I'm going to say Filthy. I know it's hard when you're losing games in late July. I know he's a big NCAA guy, so he's pondering his future with Madden. But hey, man, this is the best league out there. We've seen a lot of guys leave, and then because they're not feeling it, and then they get that itch again, and they want to come back. Man, you're going to have a pretty decent pick. I know your job doesn't allow you to chat as much, but hang in there, man. You're going to get a good pick, much better than the Broncos team you have, and I think it'll be worth it if you do stick it out.
Yeah, that's good. I just want to spread my love to everybody this cycle. We have gone 9. This is our 9th season, I believe. No major hiccups. A rejuvenating cycle for myself as a commissioner in terms of really, I think it was an easy cycle for me to help I know we had a little bit more turnover than we've had in the past, and whenever you have turnover, you have to kind of self-analyze, was it good or bad turnover? And I would think about 80% of it was good turnover. There's a couple guys that left the league that I'd love to have back, but overall, turnover's healthy. It's part of the life cycle of whether you're at your job or you're in a Madden league or a sports team. It's good to have turnover. It's good to keep things fresh. So just everybody working together and keeping the gameplay clean. People getting their games in this late in the cycle with NCAA coming out. Everybody's playing their games. Their chats positive, active. Really, not a lot of people really popping up on the inactive list. So yeah, just a really good, strong cycle. We had 2 straight blips, which was draining again for me personally, and we haven't had that. And I feel like now more than ever, when the league makes the decision, it feels like people are just supportive, and there's not a whole lot of, yeah, people probably disagree at times, but it feels like people are bought in, which is a great feeling. So just happy for everybody making this a strong cycle and finishing it strong here. And we're not really talking about Madden 25 because we're still focused on 24, but we do have some fun stuff planned here for the future. So be ready for that after this season ends. We'll go, Matt, with your extra point. What do you got going on?
Yeah, we're just going to go with our top 5 teams right now. I think we need to stay focused on this final season. There's quite a group of guys that are having really good seasons, so it was tough to narrow it down to 5. But at number 5, I've got maybe the most intriguing cycle of not just the biggest story of this cycle, but of like Madden's history, and that's Woods.
Wow.
I just really think there should be a 30 for 30 on whatever the hell happened to him this cycle, from Super Bowl appearances to top 5 picks. I can't put my finger on it, but he comes in at number 5 this week. He's got the losses to, I can read my handwriting here, Bomber Meats and Tiny. So not the worst losses in the world. Tiny's not currently in the playoffs. But he's fighting for that 7 seat, so he potentially could have lost to all playoff teams. So that's never a bad thing. At number 4, I've got Dan. Losses to Prime, Pauly, and Filthy. That Pauly loss looks really bad. I think he only scored like 6 points. But, he's the 2 seed. He's beat the cycle champ, everybody's cycle champ, twice already. So Dan's here at number 4, and I expect a big run from Dan here as he gears up for the playoffs. I know he really likes that QB, so it's re-energized him. At number 3, I've got Prime and the Colts. The loss to Stavo, as we get a little bit further here, obviously that one's going to sting, since I have Stavo here a little bit higher. But it's Prime. He's the 5 seed. As things look, the 5 seed is mostly a bye at this point, as we haven't really seen the resurgence from QB that we expected. He's a tough out. He did beat Doink, but still, 5 seed's not a bad spot to be. At number 2, I've got the Cowboys. I think Meats is probably having the quietest 12-1 season ever,
Wow.
both just in chat and both out of his own mouth. I haven't seen Meats toot his own horn a whole lot. So, but there he is, 12-1. His loss was to Tiny. Again, that's a divisional opponent, and a divisional opponent with the second best ability in the game. So, division games are tough, especially in late July. Last season, you guys have played so much. How many of your division guys do you know what play they're running when they call the formation? It's just, It's like that, right? And then at number 1, I've got Stavo. People can give him all the flack in the world, but the fact of the matter is he hasn't lost a single game that he's played. Now, outside of the best ability is set feet lead, but following that is availability, right? And if you're not available, you lose the game. I know it was kind of out of his control, but hey, he's won every game that he's played. He avenged his only loss by beating Prime. So for right now, I think the league is Stavo's to lose. This Simbardi, I think he's the only one with set feet lead in the AFC, I believe. That's going to make the playoffs. So he's got that huge advantage over everybody.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's a good list. I think it's an accurate list. Dan, what do you think?
Well, I'm kind of curious, Prime. What's your, like? This is an ideal spot for you, right? You love it when some young, upcoming, kind of hot start player has the 1 seed and you're sitting there right behind him. You're just kind of chomping at your bits waiting to get him in the playoffs. Come on, tell me, like, you're just like super excited how this is playing out right now.
I do enjoy, as you know, I feel like my favorite wins are the ones over the guys who've knocked me out a couple times in the regular season, or they beat me in the playoffs and I catch them the season after, or something like that. So especially a guy like Stavo, who in chat about a week ago, he was boasting his 5-3 record over me. Yeah, so I look forward to that. I hope to catch him. I think it wouldn't be till, I don't know when it would be. It maybe just depends on how things shake out, but it's a little bit different come playoff time. The butt's a little more. It could
be divisional round if you think me and Q can win our divisions, and then you finish the 5th seed, you knock off the 4th seed, you might get him divisional round.
I would love that. I would love to knock him out, and I would knock him out. And I would love to face you or Q in the AFC Championship game. That would be the ultimate way to finish up the cycle.
Yeah. You would finish the cycle right there too.
Yeah,
you just said it yourself. That's the way you would finish the cycle. That's exactly how you'd finish the cycle, because you wouldn't beat either of us. So,
way
to speak truth into existence right there.
Who won the season? The Colts or the Steelers?
Wait. Who's won the last time we played in the AFC Championship game? Colts versus Chargers and Steelers.
Who won?
What happened in both those games? That's right. You were the OT, and you threw interceptions because you choked them both away. That's right.
Hey, you want to get your facts straight? I didn't throw a pick against QP. I got sacked.
Okay, sacked. Sorry.
That blew your bubble there, Dan. You're getting old, though.
The ball was in your hands. The ball was in your hands. Legacy drive.
The dementia gets them all. So I'm not mad at you. I respect you.
Q, this is the TA for you, baby, because I've been nothing but Q positive.
I'm glad you've been. He needs it. He needs it.
He does need it.
This is the QTA right here, baby. QTA.
Because
I believe in you, Q.
Because his next loss, he's gonna start talking about college football at 25 again. So I'm glad you're bringing the positivity. Hey, I'm excited, man. Playoffs are coming up. What, next week is it? I mean, we're getting close. So
we're cruising. Yeah,
we're cruising.
We're moving.
Hey guys, that's SML.
In like 12 days.
That's wild. Hey, let's do it. Guys, we appreciate you watching. Until next time, have a great day.